Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Borderless Ambition, where we move slow, but we never stop. There are people who make music, and there are people who listen to the mind behind it. Amelia Moreland does both. She's an artist and a hypnotherapist. Voice works in sound and sounds alike. In this episode, we talk about how emotion becomes melody and how the subconscious influences creation and what it really means to turn your passion into purpose. Emilia, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for doing this. I know we've postponed this for a while, but let's get this on. Let's get this rolling, all right? So I'm just gonna dive right in. So I'm pretty sure when I said the word hypnotherapist, people were like, hold on, what's that about? What's that like? So could you elaborate on that for people who are not aware of it? What is hypnotherapy?
Hypnotherapy is, I like to call it non-invasive gentle brain surgery on your
Wow.
mindset. It is like a really gentle approach to take every thought captive and transmute it into the thought trajectory that would actually get you where you want to go, and also deeply identify root core trauma and limiting belief systems. I just kind of skip straight through all of the extra talk and go right into the subconscious. It's kind of like if you were going to go to the dentist and get your teeth cleaned, but you really needed a root canal, I'm going to do the root canal. Whereas in regular therapy, it's just kind of like managing emotions, managing symptoms, and it doesn't actually ever really it can help quite a bit, but it doesn't always cut to the deep. So that's what hypnotherapy is. It just takes all the noise out and puts what's really going on the table.
Sounds pretty deep. What drew you into this, Amelia? How did you get started into hypnotherapy?
It was an accident.
All right.
I I'm really passionate about midwifery, and I was looking for a way to do that as a single mom. But I was looking at school. I was looking at scheduling and everything with working full time, having my kids full time, and I was just like, I don't think I can do that right now. I was at a birthing center networking and volunteering a little, and I met a hypnotherapist, and she was listening to me talk about how I thought about mindset going into birth. And she told me, she said, you'd be a really great hypnotherapist. Have you ever thought about it? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I've heard about it, but what is it, like $1 bajillion or something? I don't know. And it turned out to be the most feasible option for me as a single mom, as a full time working mom, to get into it. Financially, it was a lot better than I expected. And I loved it. And then I found a mentor while I was going to school that she wasn't in the hypnotherapy program or anything, but her work kind of just mirrored my schooling. And so at the same time, I just got such a deep dive into what it is, how it works, how you can medicalize it, how you can spiritualize it, just work on emotional stuff with it too. And I'm constantly amazed by how effective it is. So yeah, I got in by an accident.
Let me ask you something else. When you talk about hypnotherapy and you are in a conversation with people, right? And people, I mean, from my experience, I mean, it really depends on the person, but like, I would say that sometimes people don't want to change. It's almost like they love the trauma. And I'm pretty sure that that's been your experience with some people too. Could you talk a little bit about that? How do you help those kind of people?
What happens with trauma is it's a chemical reaction in your body. It's like you're stressed out. So you have adrenaline, cortisol, all of that stuff racing through your body, and your body gets high from it. So when you're stressed out and you have like traumatic events, like let's say you're a kid and you get yelled at the house all the time, or maybe your butt whooped or something, and you get stressed out by the maybe the lack of love and connection or something, and you leave the chaotic home, and then you find yourself in toxic relationships, one after another, after another, after another. And so what happens is it's not that people, want to get better or don't want to get better. They don't understand that their nervous system is wired to drama, and it feels
Mm,
unsafe when they don't have it. So you can tell somebody that and they'll still go pick the drama because it's literally like being on drugs. It's addictive, and addiction is hard, but that's something you can recode as well. A lot of people think addiction is a disease, but it's something that you can rewire yourself on. And it's a choice, it's a decision, it's an awareness. So you can't really help anybody that isn't there yet because mentally they're just going to stay stuck in their loop until they're tired of their own crap. But when someone really is ready to move forward with that, they're just so sick of their life being this way. Like they know they deserve better and they're tired of sabotaging it. And those are the kind of people that I work with. If I have an application process, I don't take anyone. And I have my questions set up to where if someone doesn't seem like they're going to be able to do the work, I'm not going to have them waste their time and money with me because I don't want someone that's not going to get results. And I can't give you a magic pill. I can just guide you to do some of the deep work without it being scary. And that's it. But it's an addiction. It's a chemical addiction that is created in the body. I mean, you think about when people heal, when they do make peace with having peace, that they go find more of it. People that are addicted to drama go find more of it. So whatever it is that
That's
you
right.
have on a loop, you're going to go seek out way more of that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's just chemicals.
Well, I think there's a pattern. There's always a pattern that you find in people, right? I mean, that's what you see. Like for somebody who is trying to lose weight, but they cannot stop, eating sugary stuff, right? Somebody who wants to get out of a toxic relationship, but they say, maybe tomorrow, or let's wait for the next red flag or the next red flag. It's not big enough. I don't need to do anything decisive yet. Something like that. Right?
It's because
That's
they're
always
hooked.
a challenge.
They're hooked. And the subconscious is so smart, and all it knows is that it's trying to keep you alive. So, like for people that are like, I have people that come to lose weight. They can't stay on their routine for working out. They can't stop overeating. We go down into that, and they find the root cause of why and where that moment started for them. And their body is sometimes just trying to hold the weight because maybe when they were a kid, if they were just bigger, they'd feel safe. And then it translates into this whole other thing in their life. And once they identify that, like immediately, like because I do the session and then I give them a recording and they listen to the recording for 21 days. It's like taking medicine to rewire all the old thinking and put new thinking in front of them. They stop overeating like almost immediately. They'll lose 10 pounds like pretty quickly. And they don't have like, it's more of a long term goal for weight loss people, but they don't realize that they're holding emotional weight just on top of physical weight too, because their body thinks they're in a struggle and the subconscious just wants to keep you alive.
I think that's a fair way to put it. In my experience, that's always been the case. I think there's always a point in time in life when there's a lever, you need to just push it, and then finally that change happens. But, I would say that, it really is about your wiring, the way you're wired, inside your brain, inside your mind. And if you are not able to make that decision that, yes, I want to change, I want to make that shift happen, and I want to be dedicated and committed to something, I think it's never going to happen. I think that that's super important, because, I mean, even the best hypnotherapist in the world or the best doctor in the world can never help you if you cannot help yourself. So, Amelia, when you are in a session of hypnotherapy with your client, what kind of shifts do you see happening during this session? Be it a physical shift, be it an emotional shift, are there tears flowing? What's going on in that session?
All kinds of things can happen. A lot of people cry. That's pretty normal. Some people laugh. I laughed in mine when I went to hypnotherapy for myself. It would be in this traumatic event and I'd be laughing about it. It was like this, like trying to dissociate, even though I was in it. And sometimes what I notice is like when you really get to the moment that it hit them the hardest emotionally, their subconscious kind of saves that moment for last. So we go into different like, we'll go back into different scenes of their past, their life, where this problem started to like the feelings that go with it really started to occur, or where their subconscious decided they needed to be protected. And I noticed that when you get to the deepest moment of it, there's just this like there's a specific look on their face. It's really distinct. I don't know how to describe it, but you can tell like the light bulb just went off where they really understand. And I think it's the repetition because it's been multiple scenes where they specifically go back to certain things and they're just like, I didn't realize that that was going to come up for me. And they're kind of just shocked, but they're kind of like, oh, but duh. But of course it makes sense. And it's just like,
Right.
it's very gentle in a way. It's very easy, but sometimes it can be kind of emotional too. For me, like, I don't know, like when I would go into my own hypnotherapy, I can only kind of say what people have said about it from their experience. But from my own experience, I love to go into flight and run, you know? For me, my subconscious knows all the tricks, so it'll literally try to run away from me in the session. It's like, I don't know, I feel like I'm spinning or something, but it's just breathing or I won't realize I'm crying until I feel tears like dripping down. And then
Mm,
I'll be like, "Oh, wow. I didn't realize I needed to cry about that." Yeah, there's definitely it's called app reactions. Everybody has them. And it's just because it's releasing the energy attached to the trauma. But yeah, all kinds of different reactions. Just depends on the person.
very interesting. And what is that one trait that you think you've learned about human beings while doing your sessions? Like, what's that one trait that you see is very difficult to correct or to rectify, or certain patterns that you see which are very hard to break?
Something that is hard, a lot of times I'll get clients that, you know, they want to do the hypnotherapy session, but when they're going into it, they have a hard time surrendering to the process and trusting it 100%. And that's when somebody will need to come back for maybe up to 3 sessions. I don't really like doing more than 6 sessions of deep root cause work with someone because you really only have 2 big root causes, and that's usually like the feminine and the masculine wounds that you'll have. And sometimes people just have one, and it's like an octopus head, and the tentacles manifest in all other aspects of your life, and you don't realize stuff is connected to it. But usually it's the surrender to the process and the willingness to just slow down and go in. So I have people, they'll just like, I can tell they're fighting it because they're afraid of their truth. They're afraid to find out what's really going on with them because they know once they face it, it's game over for that problem. And that change feels like a threat to survival because it's unfamiliar. So they gotta let go.
Right. That's a beautiful way to put it. I mean, I think that if you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. That's what it is, right? So you should not be fighting for your own limitations. You should be your ally and not somebody who's working against you. Like, you shouldn't be your own enemy, right? So I think you just have to get out of your own way if you want to go do any kind of healing process. It doesn't have to be hypnotherapy, it could be anything. And that healing process, right? I mean, you have to really trust it. And when you get on that path, and then eventually you will see some results, but you have to, I think, have some patience and really have some skin in the game. Yeah,
Yeah. It's a commitment.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You gotta ask yourself who you really committed to being. Are you committed to being the person with the problems? Or are you committed to being the
Mm,
person who's overcome them? And overcoming and overcome are 2 different states of being. Overcoming is still struggling. When you decide that you are the healed person that you want to be, you find ways to let the stuff stop bothering you. You find ways to let, like, there's things that have happened just in this year where because I had made the decision to be changed instead of changing constantly, like 2 years ago, I probably would have been having panic attacks at some of the things I had experienced this year. But now, just mindset wise, I've decided I'm like, no, like that's not even a real problem. I'm not gonna let this get to me because it's not even a real problem.
sure. Yeah.
These are decisions. And it's an identity for sure. It is a commitment to identity.
That's a great way to put it. I think it's the identity, right? I mean, I think all of us, we have our own identities in our own heads, and we create that. We create this invisible person in our heads, and we add attributes to it. Okay, this person drinks, or this person smokes, or he does drugs, and he does this, and I mean, you build this person in your head, and at any point in time, you do anything that will threaten the image of that person, you revolt to it and you stop immediately. I think that's how it works.
Yeah. Yeah. And then also a lot of times people really bend to the identity of how others see them. So like if I was
Mm,
a wild kid, if I was a wild teenager, a wild person in my 20s and my family still sees me that way. And when I get upset if they were to treat me as the way they see me, even though I might have changed drastically, I can't allow their opinion and how they see who I used to be to really upset me because that's the identity that they've built for me in their mind based off of their own perception. And they're not going to see the inner work. And a lot of people get triggered when people don't acknowledge the inner work they did, but who can see the inside of you? You,
that's true.
everyone else needs time to see you actually embody your inner work. And I think a lot of people get set back in the identity commitment because everyone else around them is like throwing their past in your face.
Hmm.
So instead of thinking it's so unfair, just it's grace because people can't see you past their own lens. And if you're a certain way in their lens, maybe because of certain actions or whatever, you have to give grace to yourself, but also to the people that see you because you can't change what they see. You can just change what you are. And that's all. That's all you can do.
Very true. Very true. I don't think that you can control, or nor should you want to control people's perception of you, because that's not the ideal situation. I mean, you don't want to do that. I mean, what's that going to achieve? Nothing, right? I mean,
It's an illusion of control, and we don't really have control over anything. Everything is an illusion. And it's just like have fun with the ride. Just have fun with
and
the
that the
ride.
truth, and that the truth.
But a lot of people, they do obsess over controlling their image and they're stressed out.
Yeah,
They're run ragged. So, but yeah.
pretty much, pretty much. Let's assume this, that we're having this conversation now, and we have people watching us, and somebody says, okay, you know what? Emilia's right. Maybe I need to make a change in my life, and let's break that pattern. What's the first step that somebody should do before they go to a hypnotherapist, before they go to anybody for that matter, to break that pattern and be like, okay, I'm ready to see somebody and talk to somebody about my problems?
They need to get crystalline clear on what it is they actually want in life and what that looks like. They need to, because if they're going to get help and if they decide to move forward with that, they need to have a clear picture of what their life looks like without the problem they have. If they can't picture that, they're not ready to do the work. You have to expand the thing is to, and a lot of people can't do that, not because they don't want to do better, but because survival is so like deeply coded that what happens is when you're in the sympathetic state of the nervous system, when you're in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, you don't see the options that you could change. You just see the one tunnel vision way that you're going, and you don't have any other option to survive. And if you do learn some nervous system healing and nervous system work, I'm hard relaunching my nervous system course. I just expanded it and I'm going to set that out tomorrow. But people need to understand their own physiology. You have to understand how your body works. You have to understand your genetic coding. You have to understand like that sometimes your emotions are not based on what you think your emotions really are. It's based off of, oh my God, there's stress in my environment. I saw a video. This is a really good way to think about it. There's a video I saw of like a snake. It had just eaten like 4 or 5 eggs, and the people were videotaping it and crowding the snake. And what happens is the snake rejected its nourishment. It throws up the eggs because it's not in a place that it's safe. It cannot rest and digest its food. It literally
Mm,
threw up its food so it could scurry away to safety. We're doing that all the time. We're rejecting our nourishment and what we need because we don't feel safe and we're running away. And sometimes that non-safety might just be a stressful conversation with your boss. Sometimes it's just a stressful conversation with your parents. It could be that someone cut you off in the street while you're driving. It could be that, like you didn't get your check on time. You're still at work, you're still employed, you're just, it's late. But for next, like all you now know is that you're freaking out because your nervous system is hardwired to receiving that income and that amount and that time. So everyone's tripping about stuff that doesn't necessarily mean it's a threat, but it feels like a threat. And they just think they're having a bad day. They have no idea that their body is just like getting fried, like circuit fried. So the
Sure.
first, just like understand yourself. Like that, if you understand yourself, then when you do go into therapy and hypnotherapy, regardless of what avenue is taken, you're going to do much better with the healing process. You're going to end up healed much quicker because you're going to feel like the decision to be healed is actually safe versus wasting your money for like 6 years and just continuing to complain about your problems and staying stressed out. You're going to be burned out still. Okay. Like, but
True
it,
that.
yeah, learn about the nervous system.
Very
Yeah.
interesting. So purge the venom. That's the message. Purge the venom. That's very important. Sounds
Yeah.
good. Sounds good, Amelia. How many sessions of hypnotherapy do you recommend to your clients? I understand that it'll be varied, but how many sessions does a person usually need before they start to see some viable changes?
And they'll see some serious changes after the first session.
All right.
People that are not ready to dive into that, I'll do like a coaching session with them that doesn't have hypnotherapy so that because I think a lot of people feel like they need to build a relationship. We could get down to the meat of it without building the relationship, but it's really up to the comfort of the client. So I offer really like the best deal for people that I think they're most comfortable with is one coaching session, a root cause extraction, and then a follow up. Sometimes they'll find a little pushback with certain, depending on how deeply rooted the stuff is, they might benefit from a second deeper hypnosis. So, really, 1 to 3. It just depends on how ready the person is to kick it. And also, if they do their homework, you have to listen to your recording. If you go to the doctor and you're sick and they give you an antibiotic, you take the antibiotic twice a day for 10 days or whatever they prescribe. If you don't take your recording every day, your brain, you're going to go through a big subconscious reset and then you're going to go straight back into old pattern thinking because hypnotherapy changes the neural pathways. It's neuroplasty. It's creating a new way of thinking for yourself. So you're not going to win if you don't do that part. And it's just like listening to it. You'd be surprised how many people just don't listen to the recording. And then they're like, oh, well.
Mm.
And I'm like, y'all, I'm expensive. Don't do that. Fix yourself.
I think it's the same kind of mindset that you carry into the gym or you carry into your workplace or you carry into your relationships there you just feel like I don't know, you feel complacent. You don't want to do the work. Right? I think doing the work is
So worth it.
paramount. Yeah, it is worth it, right? Because it's for anything. I mean, preparation for the session and then preparation for the next session and just doing the follow-ups and understanding the process and really following the instructions, being very diligent with those instructions, I think is very critical to success. And that's not just in hypnotherapy, but I think that's pretty much everywhere for anything you do.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It is. And only about 10% of the population will actually do their inner work. The rest of the 90%, they won't even scratch the surface. And they'll just stay in their programming, they'll stay in their complaining, they'll just stay where they are. And then you'll see the
Right.
10%, they're the ones that are changing infant structures and setting that into the world we live in and making difference and running stuff. But yeah,
Inspiring.
it's yeah. Yeah. So I feel bad for people that won't do it, but
Well, that's
can't
not on
make them
you.
do it.
You cannot, yeah, exactly. You cannot really change people magically if they don't want to change, as we discussed earlier. I mean, the change has to come from within. It has to, the desire, the seed of the desire has to come from you and within your
Yeah.
soul. That's
I
very
was on
important.
yeah, I was on TikTok live a couple weeks ago. I go live every Friday. I forgot yesterday. I was busy, but I was talking about this stuff and someone put in the comments, well, not everybody has the luxury to change. Not everybody has that luxury. And I was like, it's not a luxury.
That's a
Like,
defeatist approach.
yeah, if you care about yourself and you care about the people in your life, it's your duty to change. It's your duty to get better.
Agreed.
It's your responsibility. And if you're not accountable with that, you're a danger to yourself and others because you're just going to go around mucking up your life with everyone else and hurting other people around you. And it's a very dangerous thing to think that change is a luxury because it's really not. It's hard. It sure is hard, but it's worth it. And it's our job.
Absolutely. I think you are completely your responsibility and nobody can carry you. And even if they did want to carry you, life is not going to let that happen. So it just doesn't work like that. Nobody can carry you. Nobody should carry you. You have to carry yourself. You have to carry yourself with a dignity, whether you're a man or a woman or whoever else you identify to be. You have to do it. We're gonna go to the next section here and we're gonna talk about music. And you know how much I love to talk about that. So let's just dive right in, okay? So, guys, I don't know if you. Okay, obviously, you may not be aware of it, but Amelia is an exceptional songwriter. I mean, her songs play in my car, and that's not because we're friends. I mean, that's part of it, but but I think she's fantastic. I'm gonna link some of the songs to the playlist below, and you can enjoy for yourself. You can tell me what you think. You just type down in the comments and tell me what you think. But Amelia, you are exceptional, a really exceptional talent when it comes to music. I mean, for real. I've said this before. I'm gonna say it again, live, recorded. This is the goddamn truth. This is the gospel of truth. I'm gonna swear by it, like it's a goddamn Bible. All right. Now, let's just say that you're writing a song, right? And you want to start thinking about producing that song and creating and finishing that song. So, what comes first to you in your mind? What's the process? Okay, I want to think about the tune first. I want to think about the words. I want to think about the feeling, the vibe. What's the process?
I think the feeling and the words come simultaneously. And the next thing I know, I'm looking for my phone to write it down because something will trigger a feeling. Okay, like BMBS, that's a really good one. Somebody absolutely triggered that feeling in me. And immediately, I wasn't even out of the car with them. I started writing it. I couldn't stop. I was like, but I wasn't going to pick a fight. And I don't like to disrespect people and I don't like to fight. So I take my feelings and I have like, I orbit the feeling for a very short time because I really don't like to be inside of the feeling. I don't like to be consumed by it too much. But so I take it out of me. I put it into the words. And then at that point, it just kind of turns into its own living thing outside of me. And then I feel much better. But it's like the feeling and the words immediately like it's like they're twins. They go hand in hand together and it's immediate. And I channel the lyrics like fast. Like when I'm writing a song, sometimes I'll think of a line and I'll leave it in my notes and when I'm ready to go back to it, a whole song just pops out. And then sometimes I write the whole thing just like as I'm thinking and talking to you now. It's a very fast
Mm,
process. And then when I'm
mm.
actually working on the song, if I'm having a hard time working on the song, like getting it to sound right, I get really annoyed and I'm like, oh my God, this is, oh my, because I'm used to things going fast. I like things very quickly. I like to do it very fast. And then I get annoyed, but and impatient with my work a little bit. But if I stick it out, it usually works well. But most of my songs, I just I don't even know the formula for it other than it just comes out and then it's alive. It's the whole thing. And it's very fast, very quick. Yeah.
I am really glad that it does come out, and the way it comes out, it's a goddamn banger. That's how it works. All right. I mean, seriously. Okay, here's the thing. What I like about your songs and the way you produce music, it's not something which you're doing just for the money or whatever else. I mean, it's not commercialized, and I think you're doing it because you love the art. So I would really like to know a little bit more about this. Do you treat music as art, or do you treat it as, well, let's say an emotional release?
Oh man, I feel like it's both. Because for well, art, I love art. Everything is art to me. Like you can literally make art out of anything. My daughter likes to make art out of trash. And I'm like, oh my God, girl, stop. It's trash, throw it away. But like we're very artistic people in my family. And then the emotional release of it too, I feel like I might almost hide in my emotional release in it because like I like to remove the feeling out of me. I like to extract it fast so I don't have to feel it too much and I can continue functioning well with my life. But it's both for sure. It's like, yeah, some songs I didn't want to write. Like I didn't want to write Surrender. I didn't want to write it at all. It was too emotional for me. I was crying when I was writing it. I was like, I don't want to make this a real thing and then it be its own thing, like living and breathing outside of me, because that's a really rough one to walk out.
I could
Moving
imagine.
forward and burning everything down, okay. I don't want to do that yet.
I could feel the wrath from the song. I really could.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, but it's all art. And I think because it's art to me, there's no way I can commercialize it. Like we've talked about record deal stuff. Like there's just no way I'm gonna do it. I don't want to. Like I don't wanna be your sales space. I don't wanna be your little puppet.
just to give
No,
you some
I'm not getting a
context.
record deal.
So, guys, just to give you some context, I've been hounding Amelia for the better part of my life to get a record deal, and she despises me for it now. She hates me. She's gonna block me everywhere. But I'm still gonna get a new SIM card, and I'm still gonna bother her. That's how crazy I'm about this. But Emilia clearly doesn't want any of that. She doesn't want none of that. She's like, I want my music and my art, and that's how I'm gonna do it. Respect that. Respect that. I respect that decision. I really do. I don't like it, but I respect it because that's what makes you you, and that's why I respect it. And I love it so much because that's from different artists as from what I've seen. I think everybody wants to run for that cash and grab the bag of cash, and people are just trying to cash out on the opportunity, which is great. I understand that you need to earn your bread, but maybe it destroys the art. Maybe it's not real music.
Yeah, because at that point, why are you making it? Like for me, I make songs because I have to. I literally don't have a choice. Like they crawl their little ways out of my soul and then I'm stuck with them. I wasn't even planning to release my music. I literally wrote my first album to just, as a hypnotherapist, brainwash myself accordingly with some of those songs because that's how that works. And I got bullied into releasing it by my friends. But it's not about, I don't need, and a lot of people need like that external validation of everyone praising them for their work or how pretty they are or how talented they are. And I don't give a damn. Like, I don't, I do that enough for myself. And I think that's why I feel very complete, not chasing deals and not chasing listens. Like I post my music just to post it because I like it and I love art. So you see the pictures I post, I posted it because I had fun taking it. I don't care where it goes with the music. It goes for me just fine. And that's enough for me. That is plenty enough for me. And I think that if I had a different energy behind it, you would feel that. You wouldn't be
Mm,
able to necessarily explain it, but it wouldn't feel authentic. It wouldn't
that's
feel
right.
like it because I've had people reach out to me and tell me that it's like I'm literally narrating their life and how much it's like inspiring them and helping them without even realizing what it was going to do for them. And I'm like literally
Wow.
crying on the other side of the camera listening to
Wow.
their message because like that's the goal is like if people listen to my music, I want them to feel like I'm giving them a hug. I don't want them to catch some like greedy, slimy, external need for validation crime feels behind it because that's so fake. It's not real. Like, go to therapy.
That's really inspiring, and I think that's the reason why your music is so authentic because I love the way you describe things, and I love the way you just your words flow with the melody, and it's just great. Let's just say that. It's an interesting question. Has your experience of hypnotherapy with clients ever, I would say, influenced the way you write music? Like, have you ever thought about a client, or have you ever thought about an experience which made you think or rethink the lyrics of a certain song?
It's definitely given me a little bit more depth to my own vulnerability. The most I think that it's impacted me is how I approach my parenting. And then I did write a song about that because, it's hard and you cannot repeat the same broken cycles in your generations. You have to do something about it. I wrote saying no to my hardness about parenting actually. And I think that the mindset that I had for that song definitely came from seeing clients, because there's so many moments where they just needed someone to be soft with them. And when you're stressed out and you're triggered, that's really hard to be sometimes. And if you don't repair that damage, you create lasting problems in your relationship with your kids. So that all tied together. And I do love that song. And my daughter knows that that's about that song. So if mom's having a bad mom day, she knows that we're trying. She knows that we're doing more. She could tell you, she's 6 years old. She could tell you everything about hypnotherapy and the nervous system. She's watching me live out the change in the practice of it, and then she's listening to it in my songs. So, yeah, I would say it's definitely I write so that if my clients with the problems they came to me had, if they were to listen to my music, that it would just be an additional bonus to the recording that they listen to help them brainwash themselves into having a better life, because music will brainwash you. You're listening to something on a frequency. You're in alpha brainwave, which is the same as hypnotic state when you're listening to music and watching TV,
Wow. Wow.
reading, listening to a speaker. So, everybody that's sitting here and enjoying this conversation, you're in hypnotic state. You're in alpha brainwave. And that's how slight it is from, like, you're not asleep, you're not unconscious. It's really, you're naturally going into it all the time. So with my music, I wanted to purposely make it where no one's life could possibly get any worse because they absorbed my music. That would just be a disservice to everyone's ears. Can't do that. Can't be running around making mess like that, especially when you hear the songs out on the radio right now. They're really like mentally degenerate in a lot of ways. And they're really keeping people stuck in time loops and emotional loops that they don't even belong to them
Mm,
because the beat sounds cool.
very interesting. Yeah.
It's a
I,
formula.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. I hear you. Do you ever run into creative blocks? Because I know that artists run into them all the time. And if you do, what's your way of navigating around them? What's your process?
When I get a block, I realize that I probably need rest,
Mm-hmm.
because why am I trying to create right now and I can't? If I have no flexible thinking, if I don't have emotional thinking that I can expand with, then that signals to me that I'm probably in my survival mode state and I'm doing something out of survival. And when you do something out of survival's place, you don't get that authenticity of what's really going on inside of you. You're getting my body thinks I'm about to be eaten by a lion for dinner and I'm trying to like make it. So the best work doesn't come from you when you're stuck in a block, and you need to regulate, you need to rest. It's all tied to that. And so once I get past that, when I'm back in my regulated state, then my mind opens up, and then I don't have to
Hmm.
chase what it is. They just easily flow to me. And that happens for anybody. You don't even have to be a considerably creative person for that to be accessible for you. And so a lot of people don't understand that. I think they just think they're not creative. They're just stressed out. Just
Right.
stressed. Yeah.
I think you're probably in a bottleneck situation where you're just choked out and you think that, okay, well, I have a lot going on my plate right now, so maybe I need to just deload a few things and then take it off a few notches and be like relax and just let it flow to me, instead of
Yeah.
just, yeah,
Yeah.
pushing it out there. Yeah. I can relate to that because I mean, I'm a writer myself. I got my book out there on Amazon, so I know what it's like to write stuff and to go through that process of creation. And obviously, I'm not a songwriter, so my journey is a little different than a songwriter's, obviously. But at the same time, it's the essence of it, right? The creation process. And when you sit down to do something creative, to write something, to tell a story, because we're both storytellers, we're both trying to narrate a story, right? You're trying to put, beautiful melody behind it. I'm maybe trying to put some more details, which makes it more descriptive and somebody's reading it, right? So I think that's where I've faced bottleneck situations and creative blocks. We call it the writer's block. And I just took a few days off and hey, off you go. And then I was totally fine. So that's
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. That's pretty much
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds great. Sounds great. Do you ever feel like when you create a song, do you feel like okay, this is it? the song is done, or do you ever feel like, no, no song is ever done. I can always make it better, but it's done for now. We've had enough of this song.
Yeah, I get tired of my stuff, so I decide that it's done, and then I'll go back to it. And like Golden Touch, my song Golden Touch, I thought that was done, and I had actually carved it out the way it had been, and was gonna put it on the album, and it sounded totally different. It had a way softer, calmer, chiller thing to it, but then I decided to change some of the lyrics and the chorus, and it just didn't feel right, so I ended up remaking the whole song, and then it turned into what it is, and then I was like, "Okay, I didn't even know I needed to change that much because this is way better." And then,
Right.
that feeling says, "That's done. That is done." And then there's some songs that I'm just like, "That's gotta be done for now. Because if I try it anymore right now, I'm gonna lose my marbles." Making me mad. Yeah, I'll get frustrated if things are not fast with my music process because I like to have things done yesterday. And
Yeah.
but yeah, it's definitely when I feel really good about it, like there's not any songs that have gone out that I feel like, oh, I should have reworked that a little more. So like
Mm,
they're all final cut. They're all final cut.
very nice. Very nice. Do you think that music can be, I mean, I know the answer, but like, do you think that music can and should be used as therapy for
Yeah.
people? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I've thought about like I haven't done it yet, but I've thought about because some people don't want to listen to their hypnosis recording. And I'm thinking, what if their hypnosis was in a song? Like, what if their suggestive therapy was in a song instead that was catered to them? And I've made a few of my
Mm,
own. I'm not gonna put them out because they're very personal. Like that's like really personal detail stuff, but it's manifestation in its own way too. But yeah, because like you're singing something, it's a mantra. Like you've got your chants, you've got your frequencies, you've got like all that stuff. Like, yeah, people are doing therapy backwards with music right now. They
very
wonder why
true.
they're so depressed and anxious. What are you listening to? Like, what are you putting into your brain all the time? So, yeah, for sure. And I think that that might be a little more palatable for the attention span that we're dealing with this in these newer generations. It's like they're used to the TV and the short clips and everything. So, a 15, 20-minute long hypnosis audio might be the best for the brain, but they might not be able to withstand that at first. It's like that
Hmm.
takes a little bit of discipline sometimes.
I
But
think
yeah.
maybe they're not conditioned for it, and then I think the newer generation they're not used to that at all. But I guess they might have to get conditioned to it first, and then eventually dive deeper into this the long form content. So we talked about music as therapy, and we understand that music can be used like therapy. I had the same kind of experience in my own life because I relate to certain songs more than I relate to others, and there are certain hymns and certain tunes that I really feel energized listening to. I would say for me, I'm a avid believer in Rocky, and the Rocky movies are like super big thing for me. So I'm totally pro Philly on this one. But I think everybody has their own rhythm. They need to find their own rhythm. They need to find their own hymn or their ritual, right? I mean,
Yeah.
music can be a song can be a part of your ritual, and that can change a lot of things. I know it has changed a lot of things in my life personally, and I'm sure it has changed a lot of things in your life too. And I'm pretty sure that there are people out there who will relate to this conversation because I know for a fact that music is not just something playing in the background. It changes your mind, it changes things in your brain, and it really, really captures your mind. And I mean, it's a hypnosis, like you really just mentioned. It's like a mantra. It's a hypnosis. So that's very true. I totally attest to that.
Yeah.
Well, so now, well, we have come to the end of the conversation. I'm not gonna let you go without this one, so you better give me a straight answer on this one. All right, where can people find you, and how can people support you?
Uh, they can find me everywhere. I think I'm listed on 29 digital stores, and I don't even know what all they are. I'm
That's
everywhere,
that's that's for you
everywhere.
guys to figure out.
And if you guys want it to get out there, then share it. And then as far as hypnotherapy goes, I have hypnotic healing therapy.com, and that's where people can apply for a session or a package. I do I do regular coaching. I do hypnosis sessions. I work with people suffering from depression, PTSD, lifestyle habits, changes and things. Prenatal, pregnant women, expecting moms. And I am about to, again, I revamped my nervous system course. I'm really excited about it. And I'm hard launching that this weekend as well. So that's going to be linked to the website also. But yeah, my music is everywhere. Just look up my name.
You heard it here, guys. Well, I am super excited for you, Amelia. I know that you got a lot going on and you got a lot of things coming in, and we talked about a lot of stuff. And I think this conversation has been very, very fruitful to say the least. I believe that you have great talent and you're utilizing it pretty damn well. And I think, I would like to wish you all the best. The way that you conduct yourself, your life, and I know you have so many other things that's going on in your life with the challenges and adversities that you have faced in your life. That's what we're about here at Borderless Ambition, because we talk to people from different walks of life, and it's not just about the career and what they do. Sure, that's part of it, but the real deal is to understand how did they become who they are because of the challenges, and how do they overcome those adversities, because that's the mindset that really changes people. That's the mindset that differentiates between somebody who wins and somebody who, well, just experiences things. Let's just say that. But I really thank you, Amelia, for coming on to the show and gracing us with your presence and your music. Amelia Moreland, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and
Thanks.
take care.
Thanks.